Another musical, you say? Well, I don't care what it is, sign me up. Anything but that! Cyrano is finally out in theaters. It is based on the famous musical of the same name, Cyrano de Bergerac. This was directed by Joe Wright, who's brought you amazing films in the past like Atonement, Darkest Hour, and this stars the likes of Peter Dinklage, Haley Bennett, Kelvin Harrison Jr., and Ben Mendelsohn, the latter of whom I had no clue was in this. And Peter Dinklage takes on the title character this time. Cyrano de Bergerac dazzles everyone with his ferocious wordplay and brilliant swordplay, but he's convinced that his appearance renders him unworthy of the affections of his best friend, the luminous Roxanne. Meanwhile, she's in love with someone else, love at first sight with a young man named Christian. So those of you who've been with me for a while know that one of my biggest passions aside from movies, musical theater. Heck, I get on stage myself and I've been doing it for about 12 years now. It's a great amount of fun. But I will hold my hand up and admit, I have never seen Cyrano de Bergerac done on stage. No. Okay, I hope that doesn't ruin my credibility as a musical theater person. So I was definitely very, very interested to see what this was finally all about. And honestly, the story itself, nothing really I haven't really seen before, but I think it's the way that it's presented that really struck a chord with me. Joe Wright as a director can be very hit or miss with a lot of people. Atonement was a Best Picture nominee back in the late 2000s. Darkest Hour is a great cinematic achievement with a fantastic leading performance from Gary Oldman and his prosthetic makeup. But other than that, you know, he's been kind of here and there. Woman in the Window was okay. This movie, on the other hand, I can sit here and argue is Joe Wright's best. That's not to say that this movie is flawless, though. There are certainly plenty of things that I can nitpick about Cyrano, but honestly, this wasn't what I was expecting, but I really enjoyed this. If there's one thing that Joe Wright knows how to do as a director, he's like a walking time machine. If there's one thing he really understands, is the period drama. Couple that with immaculate production design and some truly mesmerizing costumes, he really knows how to transport us back in time to, doesn't even matter what time he's transporting us to, but he really knows how to capture the essence of the period. And Cyrano is no exception. This is a brilliant film to feast your eyes on, especially on a big screen. I definitely recommend you guys check this out in theaters if you guys do plan on watching Cyrano, especially if you're into musical theater. I think you guys will especially love this. But regardless, this movie is a visual feast for the eyes. Certainly no surprise that this was nominated in the Best Costume Design department at this year's Academy Awards, which, while I'm at it, present all 23! What the heck are you doing? I digress. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the acting in this film, especially from our leading performer. Peter Dinklage has been one of my favorite actors for the longest time, and he is actually one of the biggest reasons why Tyrion Lannister is still my favorite character in Game of Thrones. And let's face it, I feel like we've all been in situations like Cyrano de Bergerac's, where we're just hardcore in the friend zone and there's no way to get out of it. I feel like we've all experienced that at some point in our lives. And Peter Dinklage, I think, captures that whole range of emotions brilliantly. He is quite stupendous in this film. And this should come as no surprise, considering that this is Peter freaking Dinklage we're talking about here. He's one of the most accomplished actors working right now. But the thing that really shocked me about his performance was his vocal range. His musical ability was something that really pleasantly caught me by surprise. He was really good. Definitely was able to carry the vocal workload in here. But you know who really has pipes is Haley Bennett. Haley Bennett, I could honestly argue, stole the entire film. Just an absolutely lovely performance from start to finish. So much emotional range she gets to explore in here. And the chemistry her and Peter Dinklage share in those big emotional musical numbers, especially getting towards the third act of this film, it's just, it tugs at your heartstrings, man. I don't know how else to describe it. But you just get so wrapped up in everything these characters are going through, all the emotions that they're feeling. Definitely a very relatable experience for me, personally. I also would like to talk about Kelvin Harrison Jr. here as Christian, the dashing leading man here that Roxanne falls in love with. He was really good. He's got some pipes on him too. He definitely brings a lot of energy to this role that definitely feels kind of underwritten compared to our two main characters, which is one of my big problems that I'll talk about in a bit. but there's one musical number that he has towards the middle of this film or so, around the halfway point. The choreography around him, absolutely stunning, and it's captured brilliantly. Reminded me a lot of In the Heights' choreography, although not on that grand of scale. Definitely transports you a lot earlier in time than In the Heights was, but I don't know, it just sort of gave me the similar scope and similar vibes there. Ben Mendelsohn as well, who I had no clue was in this, of course has to play the villain, because apparently that's Ben Mendelsohn's type. And listen, I don't blame anybody if they don't recognize Ben Mendelsohn at all, because he is under some really garish looking makeup and wig work here. It's honestly remarkable what he was able to pull off. He gets a villainous song and everything in here. He is freaking phenomenal. But again, his character, the Duke, kind of suffers from the same fate that Christian suffers from, Kelvin Harrison Jr.'s character. That brings me to my biggest issue with Cyrano. I feel like a lot of these supporting characters, not necessarily our lead, Cyrano himself along with Roxanne, but I feel like there was a lot more development that could have come from the supporting cast. Because you gotta remember, this movie is just a hair over 2 hours long, and I feel like that extra development and extending that runtime a little bit really could have helped wonders. I mean, look at something like Les Miserables. Usually when you see that done on stage, it's about 3 hours. The film runs about 240, and you still get the essence of what every single character is going through and their emotional struggles. It's not just Jean Valjean and Javert and their tumultuous relationship, but you could just look at Fantine, played by Anne Hathaway, and her one song, I Dreamed a Dream. You get her entire character. And I wasn't really able to get that same development out of the character of Christian or the Duke in this film, and I really wished I would have gotten that. So I think extending that runtime would have helped wonders. Also, this is coming from someone who's never seen the stage show, but there were a couple of moments, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who's never seen Cyrano done on stage. Let me know if you have down in the comments section below, because I'm really curious to discuss it. But there's a whole lot of points within the third act where these characters go to war, and then certain characters will break out into song, and it just kind of felt, I don't know, it didn't really feel earned. You know what I mean? Like, some characters, and legitimately, the first time we're meeting certain characters, I feel like this translates much better on stage when you have some featured soloists doing this, but when you put it on film, it just doesn't really hit you as much as it should. Like, these are characters we're legitimately meeting for the first time, and they're singing right the hell out of nowhere. So again, this is something that I don't think translated as well to film as it should have, and I think with a little bit of extra development of the supporting cast, this film could have been, honestly, a masterwork similar to Les Mis, but as it is, it's still pretty damn good. The performances really carry this over the top. Peter Dinklage and Haley Bennett are dynamite on screen together, and it leaves you with a very emotional, heart-wrenching ending. I'm gonna give Cyrano a B. If you're into musical theater like I am, there's certainly gonna be a lot for you guys to enjoy. But this is all, of course, just my opinion. Let me know what you guys thought of Cyrano all down there in the nifty comments section below. As you guys know, I love talking all things movies, all things geeky, like musical theater, so definitely go ahead and start that conversation. It really, really does make my day. Making these videos is fun, but getting to interact with you guys makes things all the more fun for me. And heck, if this is your first time visiting the channel, what the heck are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button down below and that notification bell right next to it as hard as you possibly can. That way you don't miss out on any of my future uploads coming out very, very soon. And don't forget, smash that thumbs up button and like this video as much as you possibly can. It's also tremendously helpful to get this content more out there. And stay tuned for more exciting videos hitting this channel very, very soon, guys. This Monday, I've already teased it in a couple of videos at this point, but Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2... oh, we got a lot to talk about on Monday. And of course, next weekend, I will be looking at The Batman. The week after that, Turning Red. March is stats, guys. And I haven't even mentioned The Lost City. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, I can't wait, guys. And I hope you guys are at least half as excited as I am. But thank you all so very much for supporting the channel today. Really, really does mean the world that you checked out the video. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.